when I was writing this talk for you, I was really struggling with knowing how to begin. And after a few versions, I realized I was struggling with struggle. My work demands that I'm consistently creative day after day. And while I love what I do, the truth is it's not always so easy. For me, the creative process is about finding a way to connect, to express an idea that taps into a truth, something you believe in, but does it in a captivating way. And this is one of the many ideals that we strive for. As a process, it's full of uncertainty and doubt. And before a solution appears, there's almost always an uncomfortable period of not knowing. I have to push through and trust that not knowing will pass before the deadline does. And so I look for ways to develop my ability to have good ideas, improve my chances of success, and also to make sure that I never stop learning how to do this job that I love. So when I'm looking for inspiration, I often find myself going to one place. I go to New York. That great melting pot, smack in the center of the creative universe, where everything liberal, eccentric, and creatively brilliant seems to thrive. From half a world away, I trawl through its street reporters, its magazine, its food and art blogs. I haunt its designers and their websites, and I soak it all up through the face of my laptop. And because the internet brings it all so close, you really feel like you could be there. And it was last year that I realized how much I wanted to be on the inside when I find myself always on the outside. How amazing it would be to live and work in an electric place like New York City. I come from this small place in a small place at the very end of the world. And this place means so much to me. I'm deeply connected to it. And yet I really wanted to find a way to make being here on the outside as good as being anywhere. So in my search, I came across this guy. Michael Beirut is an American graphic designer and partner at the agency Pentagram in New York. He also teaches at Yale School of Visual Arts, and it's there that he makes his students undertake a project where they have to repeat a simple creative exercise of their own choosing every day for 100 days. So I read about the discipline and vigor required to complete such a difficult task, and I thought it could be liberating, or at the very least just a really good workout for my brain to practice creativity so relentlessly. So I decided to borrow a little education from Yale. For my 100 days project, I decided I would take each day to express a negative thought and then counter it with an opposing positive. I gave myself a time limit, so I couldn't perfect each task. I wanted to play with ink and words and pencils and just kind of open up and be playful, and even sometimes allow myself to have a rant. Would you like me to read it? Yes. Okay. Dear man boy, you seem off track, lost in heroic self-indulgence. Your laddish boy culture has gotten way out of hand. Lord help us if you get a job in an agency and we're subjected to more horny advertising created by your balls. That's the negative. That's the truth. And of course, being a good man is good, man. Before I did any of this, I didn't want to do it alone. So I invited friends and other designers to join me. And I thought if I got like 5 or 6 people together, we could support each other through the project. I got more than I expected. And this year, when I ran the project again, twice as many people signed up. We got designers and artists and students as we expected, and we got everyone else too. We got teachers, lawyers, business owners, a radiographer, an environmental manager, a comedian. We got mums and dads and children. Participants were spread across 9 different countries. The youngest was 7 and the oldest was 68. And the projects were as diverse as their owners. Simi took each day to design a piece of furniture, Rebecca drew her daily cup of tea. Den studied the ground. Belle danced. Michael looked for street art. Dennis wrote and recorded a piece of music. Tim designed t-shirts. Leash, who has a phobia about feet, photographed feet every day. I don't think she's cured herself. Annabelle in Hawaii collected things, and Rory made origami cranes. Anisha wrote a daily haiku about her family. William drew mig-migs. Emily in Sydney stopped strangers on the street and took their portraits. Zoe mapped out her life. This is her lunch one day. And Michelle offered us a glimpse into her experience of motherhood every day. And Alice took each day to draw a New Zealand native bird. So when I was asked to come and speak to you about the project, this was the thing I was most curious about. I didn't really know why all sorts of people are attracted to doing something like the 100 Days Project. For designers, it challenges key skills that we can apply to our daily work. For everyone else, I think the appeal lies in the permission it gives you to create. Ken Robinson, the fabulous TED talker and educator, kind of answers the question best though, when he says we need to redefine what creativity means to us. So rather than understand that it's, or think of it as a subject to be studied by the few, he said we need to redefine it and know that creativity is a series of essential processes of the brain. It is imagining, solving, and inventing. So if that's the case, then it becomes clear why it holds so much appeal, why everyone has something to benefit from practicing creativity, and how it's a crucial part of who we are. So take Ruby and Claire. Claire has a background as a business analyst. She and her daughter Ruby took a photograph of each other every day last year for 100 days, and incredibly, they repeated the project again this year. No 2 days have ever been the same, and there's always an idea or a theme attached to the day's effort that they've collaborated on. And this is one of my favorites. Ruby has finally, she's been working really hard to convince her mum to shed her inhibitions and agree to dress up as mummies. This is Ruby. Clicker. And this is Claire doing an excellent job, complete with rigid leg. So what I've learned about doing the 100 Days Project is that it gives us just the kind of structure to facilitate a rigorous creative process. It's simple and adaptable to daily life. Everyone can do it. It just takes a little bit of time each day. And yet it's too demanding to merely be a bit of fun. And this is kind of the point of it. 100 Days is not about creating fine art or perfect design, and it's not a race to create. It's about the process of creativity and developing a way of thinking. And when we look at the projects themselves, they offer us lessons in how it all works, and I've picked out 3 for you. The first thing is that design in public is different to design in private. Zoe and Sam are Auckland-based graphic designers. Their experiments in typography are beautiful and strange and playful, and they're outside of the bounds of their professional work. In this project, they're not trying to create perfect typography or letter forms each day, and they're not trying to create logos. It's through this extended period of play that they're able to discover new ways of seeing common symbols. And that K is beautiful there, made out of toothpicks. It's really sculptural. This is creativity for the sake of creativity. The second thing is that constraints provide fertility. The limitations we put in place for our daily task help us focus the mind and hold our attention for the duration. Holly is a photographer who was based in Melbourne when she took a self-portrait every day. The limitation? She never revealed her face. The specific constraint she put in place around her project meant that she had to work really hard to develop different scenarios and keep each day different from the last, but they also allowed her to become really adventurous and uninhibited. It's a couple of my favorites. So it has to be a bit difficult to do. Pip decided that she would wait each day to receive an email from the Māori language project Culture Flow that she signed up to. In that email would be a kupu, Māori word of the day. Only then, upon seeing the word, would she respond to its meaning in the form of a brooch. This is really in the spirit of the 100 Days project because she absolutely couldn't plan ahead and she had to take the risk of the creative challenge each day as it came. The brooches are made from only from materials that she had available on hand. So you see here, they're made from paper, string, and cast-off objects. And they're really thoughtful and unexpected. This is day 74, ngā wari, meaning flexibility. And it's made from the plastic binding tape that holds reams of photocopy paper together. Piri decided to film an aspect of his son's life each day, starting at dawn on day 1, right through till bedtime on day 100. He mapped out a schedule for days filming, and although that ultimately became too difficult for him to adhere to, the constraints of his project meant that he witnessed and captured all sorts of really special moments in his son's life that he'd never seen before. And this is day 5, brushing teeth.
I've been trying to walk a straight line, avoiding all the shadows and following all the signs. But my mind is messed up all the time. Yes, my mind is messed up all the time. I've been working so hard to find a way of being still like fire. So my mind is messed up all the time.
It's kind of amazing to think that there were 99 more moments. So the third thing is that creativity is a way of thinking by not thinking. Once we have if our limitations and our constraints we put in place for our project help us focus and hold our attention, then beyond that we just have to let go and get on with doing. Creativity isn't a logical, rational process, and by doing, we can achieve the creative breakthroughs that we're looking for. And we can learn so much from watching how children create. Edie was 10 when she drew a dress every day for 100 days. To kids, I think creativity is a natural extension of how they play. It's the work of a moment for them, and they tap in really quickly. And even when she was in a hurry, the results are still really interesting. Mia is 11. This is her 100 Monsters project. They're so weird and wonderful. And kids really don't overthink things, you know? When they get stuck, they just go have a biscuit and play outside for a bit. It's good to remember. So on day 100, I gather together as many people and their projects as possible for a really special one-night-only show. Because the project is so tough, less than half of everyone who signs up makes it through to day 100. You really get how much it means to people on this night, and how much courage plays a part in being able to stand up in public next to something that you've made. So there's a wonderful nervous energy in the room as we share our projects, and you'll often find if you're looking at someone's 100 daily efforts, you just peek over to the side and find that they're watching you, looking to see how you respond to what they've done. So because of the response to this year's 100 Days project, and upon being told that they film these talks, I knew it was time to fess up to Michael Beirut about what I'd been doing with his idea, and belatedly ask him if that was okay. So this was his response. You tell him I spun him a story, can't you? So where does this all leave me in New York? Well, if creativity is imagining, solving, and inventing, like Andrew said this morning, it doesn't matter who or where we are. It's as much the daily challenge faced by Maka Beirut in New York as it is of Annabelle in Hawaii or me here in New Zealand. It's this really simple thing. Creativity is where your head is, not where your feet are. We're responsible to ourselves to make our experiences in this life rich and varied. It's why you're all here today. And however we do it, I think we have to push beyond what is routine and reach out and do something outside of ourselves so we can get into our own creativity. And we do this especially because when we begin, we never quite know where it will take us. Thank you.